new album, Violence Unimagined, is out about a month's time, I think. I've got to be honest, I can't even remember what day it is today. So, but I do know that April 16th is when Violence Unimagined is out.
Yep.
Obviously, this is the first album with Erik on guitar. He's produced every album since Kill, I believe. Songwriting-wise, what has he brought to the table?
Well, I mean, he's going to bring his style of Cannibal Corpse, of course. He's obviously a very schooled guitar player, and he's been around, and he's still going with Hate Eternal, been a Morbid Angel and everything. So I think for him, it was just a matter of having to, sort of adjust not his style, but, write Cannibal Corpse songs, of course. Yeah. He's not going to write a Hate Eternal song for Cannibal. He knows, that it's going to have to be a Cannibal song. So I think Erik just brings his style of writing to Cannibal, and I think it mixes well. I mean, we've went through changes in the past with guitar players, of course, and and whoever comes in is gonna bring their own flavor and taste of how they write and what they do. But they know that it's got to be fitting what we do, basically. Of course, the style of the band. So I think Erik did a great job at doing that. So we're just going to have 3 songs that he wrote that are Erik, but yet Cannibal Corpse. So it's cool to have that little bit of diversity.
Absolutely, yeah. It definitely makes for something a bit more fresh, without meaning to denigrate any of the previous albums or anything like that. But it's something that fans are going to be very interested in, definitely. Was he always the first choice to come in as a new guitarist? Because obviously he knows the band very well. He knows death metal very well.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he was the first choice. I mean, really the only choice, kind of a thing. I mean, when we obviously had to bring him in or somebody in to do the touring aspect, it was the same thing. He was our first choice. I mean, it made sense in every way. You're right. We've known him for a long time. He's obviously been our producer for a while. He lives in, near us in Florida and all that kind of thing. So, it was a no-brainer, really. And then, of course, when we made the transition to get him into the band, it was the same thing. It was really to us. He was the only choice. So luckily it all worked out.
Yeah. And he's a very skilled musician, and obviously, so it's going to be a really exciting time. Obviously, it's been 4 years since the last album, Red Before Black, which is. It's quite amazing to think it's been 4 years. I mean, I saw you 4 times in 2018 on that tour. So, and I remember it like it was yesterday. So, how does Violence Unimagined compare to Red Before Black?
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. It's actually going to be about 3.5 years, which is still a long time for us to put out a release. I mean, it would have been 3 years, almost probably to the day, if the pandemic didn't happen, of course. But yeah, to go almost 3.5, that's kind of crazy. But I mean, it's just really the next step. It's the next chapter in the story. I mean, I think Red Before Black is a great album. I mean, I think we had a great mix of old school Cannibal, new Cannibal, just a well-rounded piece of work there. So if anything, really, Violence Unimagined is just taking it to the next level in a lot of ways. These songs were just have a little more intensity the way I look at it. I mean, obviously, I tried to step it up in the drumming department more so than I ever have, and I think I did. But but these songs, when they were coming together, and then you hear the final versions, you're just like, man, this is some pretty intense stuff that we put out here, So, but like I said, I think it's just the next chapter in the story. It's just what comes out of us as we go. I mean, we always try to do the best we can do. We always try to write a great album and great songs, of course. I mean, and all we can do is the best we can do. And this one is so pretty cool record. You know, I think the fans are really going to dig it. So far, so good. I mean, just from everybody hearing the one song, I mean, the reactions we're getting and all that. So, yeah, I can't wait for everybody to hear it. What Erik, of course, had to contribute to the album and all that, and it's just a violent album. So
Good. I think that's all Cannibal Corpse fans ask for, really. Is something grisly and something that's going to make your ears bleed.
that's right.
Drumming wise, what have you done differently on this album that you haven't done before?
You know, it's just really kind of stepping it up and doing. I mean, there's a lot of drum work, a lot of fills. I mean, you're always trying to do something slightly different. I mean, you know, I'm obviously not going to be, you know, it's not going to be anything completely outside the box with what I do. I mean, that's Cannibal, I think, you know,
Yeah.
and my style of drumming. But really, you know, just a lot more fills happening. You know, I mean, the good thing is, you know, the way we write, and then especially having Erik in the band as well now. Alex and Erik especially write, you know, everyone's writing individually these days, but Alex and Erik will write their songs and then kind of program the drums and have an idea, a really solid idea what they want for the drums, you know, and 98% of the time I'm going to follow along what they came up with because it just fits the song. And you know, so Alex in particular usually comes up with some stuff that I'm like, my God, I would have never thought of that. You know, it fits the song. I can end up doing it. It might take a little while just because it's more of a mental thing. You know, and that's apparent on this record, with Alex songs, especially two songs that in particular, Slowly Sawn and Cerements of the Flayed were mind benders for me, you know, and they're not physically hard. It was just more of the mental aspect that stuff that I wouldn't normally do. So I have to kind of train my body and my mind to be able to, you know, to comprehend, to play this kind of stuff. So that always makes the drumming, I think, a little bit kind of more diverse as we go in those ways, because it's not like I'm sitting down and coming with every drum part, which is cool. You know, I think that makes the songs that much more diverse as well. So, but yeah, I mean, I think, like I said, overall, just a lot of fills going on, and you know, and I think maybe the speed is a little bit more apparent on this one than maybe it was on the last one. So, so that's a good thing.
Awesome. Um, like you mentioned before, there's been one song released so far, Inhumane Harvest. Um, why was this song chosen to be the first one released from the album?
You know, you got to come up. You got to have one song, obviously.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, you got to sit and go. In my opinion, it's like, you know, you want a really strong song, of course. You know, and to me, really, that's my favorite song on the record myself. But of course, everybody's got to agree here. You know, so luckily everybody agreed when we all just said, hey, let's release that song first. Everyone was like, oh yeah, awesome, cool, no problem. You know, nobody had an issue with it. There was no, trying to figure out, well, no, a couple guys wanted that. No, everybody was down with Inhumane. So, but to me, it's just a good representation of us. You know, it's a solid, great, catchy song. You know, got everything, got speed, got some slow stuff. You know, catchy vocal parts, all that kind of thing. So it was important to put out a song that's going to grab people right away like that. And I think Inhumane Harvest does that.
Absolutely does. I mean, it's one of those songs, you know, you listen to it and you immediately know who it is. It's like when AC/DC puts out a new song, you know, you go, oh, that's AC/DC. You know, it's a great song, but it's AC/DC. The same, it's a great song, it's Cannibal Corpse. Yeah.
Right, right.
And of course, it has a suitably and maybe, for lack of a better word, typically brutal music video. How much creative input did the band have with the story concept for the video?
Well, I mean, you know, David Brodsky did a great job, of course, doing the video, and he's done a couple videos for us, you know, in the past. So I mean, the way he likes to work is, I mean, because obviously we're writing pretty much short stories here, you know,
Yeah.
and we have that concept and that vision of what the song, I guess, is. So he just takes kind of the lyrics and goes, well, this is what the song's about, and I'm going to, you know, pretty much keep it to that. You know, I mean, he consulted a little with Rob because Rob wrote the lyrics and the song, of course, you know, but overall, when you're watching the video and you read the lyrics and you go, okay, well, this is just what the song's about. You know, it's not like there's some crazy other concept going on here where it's just out in left field. It's pretty self-explanatory, you know.
Yeah.
So we have, of course, you know, we're going to have input, you know, but we're going to let the director usually kind of, you know, take the reins and do what they do in that end. That's their expertise and all that. So but yeah, I mean, I think it turned out great to be, like I said, a great representation of the song, and you know, we'll have that input where needed. But you know, like luckily, you know, just the kind of the video almost made itself because of what the lyrics are talking about. So that's cool to keep it like that. We like that representation.
Excellent. Yeah, so it's like I say, it's a great video and it's a really good song as well. So,
Cool.
obviously, once again, you've worked with Vince for the artwork. I like this one a lot because it's a bit, I don't know, it's like it's still gory, but it's a bit more refined in a way. You know, it actually reminds me of Venom, the comic character, not the band. The way it's got like the long tongue and the teeth and all that kind of thing as well. How do you rank this artwork among previous Cannibal releases?
Yeah, I think it's one of our most brutal, really. You know, I mean, both pieces. Obviously, we got the censored and the uncensored, and then the censored, just with the you know, the profile of the face and everything is pretty intense. But of course, the original piece, you know, with the bodies and the baby and all that it's pretty intense stuff. You know, so I mean, I definitely rank it up there, maybe just below Butchered at Birth. For probably being our most violent, our most disturbing piece we have, you know. So that, I think that was important too. With a title like Violence Unimagined, it had to be something pretty crazy, you know, because if just that phrase alone should conjure up, well, what is that? I mean, you know, violence, and then unimaginable violence. That's like, okay, so we needed something like that, and it was cool to go kind of old school because I think the fans really appreciate that. We haven't had a cover like that in quite a while, so it was good to do that, and the fans seem to dig it, and it just fits Cannibal Corpse, so you know, it's getting everybody excited. So
Cool. I mean, I'm going to be honest. I didn't realize there was a uncensored version. I thought that was it, the censored one. So I've got to go out and look for that now.
Oh yeah. No, I mean, yeah, the censored version, right, is pretty intense. Like I said, the profile with the tongue and all that. No, but if you see the censored, you see the regular version, the uncensored, you're gonna go, holy, you know, this is some crazy stuff. Like I said, just below maybe Butchered at Birth for that intensity. So yeah, go check that out. I think you're gonna really dig it.
Jesus. Obviously, we can't really do interviews nowadays without talking about the pandemic and all that kind of bollocks. But you mentioned the album was recorded back in April, so obviously that's quite some time to be sitting on the record, for lack of a better term. At what point did you feel that the album had to be released? You couldn't wait anymore.
Yeah, I mean, it was tough, right? You know, because it was supposed to come out in November, you know,
Right.
back last year. And then once we knew, I guess once the recording started, obviously the pandemic was in full swing at this point. So now everything's kind of like we're taking it as it comes, you know. Are we going to be able to tour it in November? You know, in the beginning, you thought, oh, yeah, okay, we should, no problem. Everything's going to be on track. And then as, you know, months go on, it becomes, you know, June and this, and you're going, okay, we probably can't. We're not going to be able to tour. So what do we do here? So the plan, of course, was to delay the release, you know, because we didn't know when we were going to be touring. So but then as time goes on, right, it ends up being, you know, like then September, October, November. And, you know, you just don't know what to do. There's no right or wrong. It's just going to be a feel thing. So, I mean, I know a lot of bands don't want to put out a CD or new music without having that definitive, you know, touring lined up, you know, schedule. But I think around that time, we all decided we need to put this out, you know, tour or not, it needs to come out. You know, we can't wait any longer. Exactly. It comes out in April. That'll be about 3.5 years in between releases, which is a long time. Normally is, you know, set 3 years is our limit here. And we felt it was, if we waited till we were going to tour, well, we don't know when that's going to happen. So what? It's going to come out in 4 years, 4.5. That's crazy to me, you know, and I think everybody felt that same way. Let's just get the music out. That's the most important thing. Sure, you'd love to have it tied with a tour, but you know, this is a different kind of a time. So what do we do? You don't know. But all I know, and I think we all knew, that it needs to get out. You know, it's going to help. The people are going to be excited. The fans are going to be excited, you know, to hear new music in this trying time, of course, you know. So that was decision we had to make, and we did. We felt really strong about getting this out as soon as we could, and then of course April being when that is. So I think it's a win situation for everybody, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as listeners and as fans, it's always a positive to have new music generally. So at a time when nobody can really do anything, to have that is it's really an uplifting thing, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm interested in how the pandemic affected recording, because I know Alex had to record by himself, I think, and send it over to you. He doesn't live in Florida.
Right.
Did other members have to do this kind of thing as well, or were you able to, for the most part, come together and record together?
Yeah, I mean, Alex is the only one that lives away from us now. He moved to Portland, Oregon a few years ago. So the last couple records, he, you know, commute, he'd fly in, and, you know, no problem. But that was the only little speed bump, you know, kind of a thing. And it ended up being no problem at all, because Alex has those capabilities. He's done it before. He's got his home studio and he's able to do this. So that was the only thing, and not having Alex there to do his bass tracks. Otherwise, we're all in Florida here. I mean, in the beginning, we were just more concerned, are we going to be able to record? Because exactly in March, a year ago now, we're gearing to go into the studio. We're like, hey, we got 1 month. We're putting the final touches on. We're getting geared up and ready to go. And then everything gets shut down. And then there's that concern, of course, like, are we even going to be able to record? Is the studio going to be able to be open? Are we going to be able to travel to get to the studio? Those kind of worries, of course, you know. So it was a little tricky in that way. But once we knew we were able to record, then, you know, okay, a studio staying open, we'll be able to get there. It's business as usual, other than Alex not being able to be here. So that was the only, like I said, issue, and luckily it really wasn't an issue, because he was able to get his tracks done and it turned out great. So we got lucky in a lot of ways, of course.
Yeah, I mean, I think fans wouldn't know, listening to it, if they didn't know that Alex wasn't in the studio.
Oh, no, not at all. Not in today's day, when, you know, everything can be done in so many different ways. I mean, you really need, you know, nowadays you need a room to record the drums, of course, you know, that's important, you know. So always being in a studio, I mean, and that doesn't even have to be a studio, obviously, but you got to do the drums proper. And then everything else, the way technology is and everything, you know, if you have the know-how and the capabilities and all that, you know, things can, guitars, bass, vocals can all get done wherever, in a sense, you know. So that's the good thing about technology now, because, right, if we were dealing with this 20 years ago, 30 years ago, you'd have a problem. How is this going to get done? It's not. You have an issue here now, you know. So luckily we live in this day and age with the technology that this can work, you know.
Absolutely. Obviously, you can't really go out on tour for the album or anything like that, which makes promotion for the record that much harder. Has there been any discussions on how to promote it, like maybe a live stream gig or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're just gonna, you know, do what we've been doing. Nothing major happening. Put the videos out, you know, get the couple songs out. I mean, we're not going to do a live stream right now. So, you know, so there's not much to do in promoting other than just the way we've been promoting, without a tour, basically. So it's kind of weird, but right, just knowing how the numbers are on the pre-sales from just releasing one song in comparison to, say, other albums or Red Before Black. Our pre-sale numbers already are just astronomical, which is amazing, you know. And that's usually exactly, you got a tour lined up, because of course, if in a perfect world we would have released Inhumane Harvest and there would be tour dates right along with that, and we'd be on the road next month, you know, the day that that gets released, and that helps, I guess, you know. But here you go, it shows, the numbers are showing that that doesn't have to be the case, you know, that people just want, you know, the music. As long as you got that promotion, you know, with the internet now and everything, it's just like so many people are going to know that an album's coming out. They want new music. So we'll see what happens, but I don't think it's going to affect it really all that much, you know, by not having a tour lined up for it, you know, because like we were saying earlier, yeah, people just want music, you know, they want new music, and especially if there's nothing happening these days, it's going to help in so many ways, you know, just to have the new stuff to be able to listen to and all that. So yeah, nothing really major planned or anything planned, other than just what we've been doing, you know, to get to promote the record.
Cool. I think in a way, Cannibal Corpse, like when the new album comes out, it almost promotes itself. You know, again, to use the AC/DC comparison, it's like AC/DC has a new album out, and that's all you need to know. And it's the exact same thing in Cannibal Corpse, you know. And something else that I've noticed about Cannibal Corpse over the years is that when a new album is announced, it's a case of, it's almost a surprise, you know, because a lot of bands now, they have updates. We've gone into the studio, here's a video of us recording drums, guitars, blah, 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 blah. Whereas with Cannibal Corpse, it's just, there it is. So everyone goes, oh, fuck, Cannibal Corpse.
Yep. Yeah, no, that's the way we like to do it these last couple of albums, you know, kind of go dark, like they say, for a little while. And then exactly, bam, right there, you get a new song out of nowhere. No one was thinking that or expecting it, you know, and it kind of gives it a little more impact, I guess, you know.
I agree.
But yeah, so, but it's cool, the analogy that you said, you know, with AC/DC. I mean, we've been around long enough, and we have a name, we got a fan base. You know, a new album's going to come out, the fans are going to know what to expect, and it seems like that excitement's there regardless of what's going on, you know. So that's a great thing. Of course, we're very fortunate to have that going for us, that you know, that the band can pretty much, like you said, self-promote itself in a way. So that's cool. So we'll see what happens, but I think we're gonna have a good release here, and the fans are really gonna dig this record.
Absolutely. Well, Paul, thank you so much for taking the time to speak to me today, man. I really do appreciate it. And good luck with the album, and look after yourself, because we want to see you out on tour again when this is all over.
Yes, definitely. Thank you, Ollie. I appreciate the interview, and you take care, and hopefully we'll see you soon.
Absolutely, mate. All the best.
All right, man. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.